going on, everybody? Welcome to Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. I'm Jonathan Beardsley.
And I am Brandon May.
We hope you're all doing well. We'll be talking about the new Beyoncé album as well as the other new releases this week and a few, but we're going to kick things off this week by talking about our favorite albums of the year so far. I can't believe we're already a quarter of the way through 2024, dude. That's kind of fucking crazy.
I know, dude.
We've already got a few gems though. I think some genres are stronger than others to start the year. Some are kind of dissolving into others as they have been for years now, but we're still getting some quality music. I have a rough top 10 already. We don't need to be that formal with it. I just want to hear off the top of your head, man. Like, what are your favorite albums of the year so far?
Oh, geez. All right. Let's go with. All right. Well, I really have revisited Orquídeas from Caliuchis.
Yeah.
Orquídeas from
Same.
Caliuchis quite a bit. I cannot stop listening to either the Darkest Hour nor the Job for a Cowboy albums.
Great
Been
albums.
really big fans of those. Let's see what else has come out this year. There's been a couple of good ones.
Schoolboy
this year.
Q.
That Schoolboy Q album's actually grown on me quite a bit.
I was hoping it would.
It most definitely has. We have
Brittany Howard. That one's still pretty strong in my
man,
rotation.
That one's really good, dude. That one's really good. I haven't revisited it as much as I would like to have, but I remember that MGMT album hitting me real hard.
Yeah.
So
I haven't revisited that one either. Maybe I need to. I know it. I know you're not listening to it, but the Smile one I play on an almost daily basis. So.
Hey man, I rated that one pretty highly. So
You did. I wasn't
really
sure
liked
if
that
you would
one.
be returning to it. I mean, especially with the frequency at which we have to digest new music. One for me that is near the bottom of my top 5 and definitely not anywhere on your list is the Ariana Grande one. There's a few new albums from like Empress of that's been really good. Erica DeCassier, Mannequin Pussy, Sleater Kinney. I really like the Last Dinner Party album as well. There's a lot of good music. I think I'm glad to hear Caliuchis is just as strong a front runner for you right now as she is for
It's
me.
a big one, bro. And you mentioned Mannequin Pussy. That one is
Phenomenal.
it's funny, man. You don't in today's non-monoculture world where you have people who like us listen to music all day and it's all, whatever the fuck you want, right? A lot of people are still talking about that Mannequin Pussy album, and I gotta say, it's real. Like that's a real good album, man.
It rips, as they should be. It rips.
Yeah.
It absolutely rips.
I have yet to revisit that Idols album, but I'm gonna revisit it again soon and see how I feel about it again. I remember liking it. We'll see how that goes towards the end of the year.
There's still a lot of time to go this year. We're in like the busy season right now. EDM is the only genre where I don't really have a strong contender for album of the year yet, but
Yep.
there's been some good releases. We've got new releases coming from Porter, Justice, Wave Dash, Nia Archives next week. A lot more coming soon. I'm not too worried about it in that regard. With that in mind, though, what are some of your most anticipated albums going into the second quarter of this year?
Most definitely Justice.
Yep.
I am excited to dig into that Vampire Weekend album that released today, actually.
Tune in next week?
Yeah, I am. I'm excited to dig into that one. We're probably not going to review it, but I'm excited to kind of listen to that Sum 41 album.
With that attitude or not.
Maybe. Justice, obviously. Porter, obviously.
Yep.
Those are huge contenders. I was very excited for the Gesaffelstein album that we're going to
talk
review
about that
today.
Yes.
Yeah, most definitely. What else on the
I got a few more names for you. Knocked Loose coming up.
Oh my God, that's right.
They dropped a new single we'll be talking about next week. Remy Wolf, Wave Dash, as I think we mentioned earlier. And in terms of just mainstream pop, I think the Dua Lipa album is shaping up to be pretty solid. It doesn't have a release date yet, but I think the Marias are probably
the Marias, God.
pretty fucking high on our list. Again, with
yeah.
another single we'll be talking about next week.
Yep.
All right, dude. Let's move on from music news. We have a track premiere this week.
We sure
If
do.
you have been listening to us for a while, you might remember us covering an artist named Memory Derelict out of Vancouver, Washington a while back. He's announced a new album dropping next month. I have been lucky enough to hear it early and we'll be covering it when it drops, but he said we can preview my favorite track off of it. So without further ado, here is 10,000 Volts by Memory Derelict off of his upcoming album Archangel, due out May 3rd.
Man, that was crazy.
All right, give me some initial thoughts.
All right. So, for the audience, I actually had never listened to this before, just now. My initial thoughts are that him and Jejotronic need to immediately link up.
That would be fun.
This was great, man. That building towards like 2 minutes and 45 seconds, it's like just like made me emotional a little bit. Like that was cool. That was
Yeah,
really
dude.
fun. The
Yes.
synth work is really good. That kind of off pentameter, like electronic sound was awesome. I'm a big fan of that. I'm stoked for the album, man. Great job, Memory Derelict.
Well, if the listeners liked it as well, be sure to look them up on Bandcamp, Instagram, anywhere else you can think of. We will be reviewing the album after it drops May 3rd. All right, man,
Awesome.
let's dive into this week's playlist. We're going to kick things off with the new one from Keto and Chrome Sparks called All I Need. I think it's a good song. Definitely a fun way to kick the playlist off. I don't think I've ever seen a project named after the main sample in their first song together, but names are very hard to come by for new groups nowadays, so I'm not mad at them using Is You, Is You. I'm always happy to hear new music from Keto, and this one's kind of fire. What'd you think?
Yeah, man, I actually really liked this one, and I looked forward to pressing play again once the playlist ended every week.
Same. All right, new one from Feed Me, Hyper Harmonic. What do you think about it?
Alrighty, sir. Well, you know that I'm a big Feed Me fan. I love how dark he gets on
Yes.
this one. This
It,
one's real cool.
it's a bit darker. It didn't really come together for me quite as much. I think it's more on like the vocal style or like the, is it a sample you think on this one?
Yeah, I think it's a sample.
Yeah, either way, I'm just happy he's releasing new stuff. I'm always happy to hear new Feed Me.
Exactly.
I do wonder if this is heading towards an album or something though.
I think he had mentioned two EPs, but didn't we get both of those?
Oh, yes.
I think we did.
Mark.
Even if it's another EP, I'm always down for more Feed Me music. And man, do you think he'll ever tour with Teeth again?
I don't know. I hope so because I never got to catch his live show with Teeth. Are you going to get a new Teeth sticker for your new car, Brandon? That is the real question.
You know what's funny, John, is I think about it all the time.
I know you
I have not decided yet because here's the deal. The Teeth sticker I bought from Feed Me back in like 2009, he has since changed the Teeth logo. So it's not quite the same. And I'm not sure if the newer logo that he sells is going to fit with my vehicle.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Brandon had a car width sticker, the entire width of the back windshield of the Feed Me Teeth for about 15 years there until it mercifully retired. I hope they come back, man.
We'll see.
All
We'll
right.
see.
How else will I know it's you? You know? All right, we got a new track from ATB called Future City. Over 20 years in the game, the guy is still making consistently good music. He is a legend for a reason. What'd you think of it?
Just a gorgeous trance track, man. Early 2000s vibes for sure, obviously
Yep.
from Mr. ATB himself. I'm glad this is releasing on Dream State. I'm glad. I really hope that this is like the start of a new era for ATB. I really loved this song, man.
I did as well, man. All right, we got a new one from Sasha. It's the extended mix of Floron Drift. You a fan of it?
Classic spacey Sasha production extended mix, obviously, as we are gentlemen. Of course, this is fantastic. The way he creates melodies out of thin air, like kind of as the track continues on its way, the way this is mixed, all phenomenal.
Yeah, his music makes for a very engaging live listen, a very fun passive listen when you're just doing anything. There's always a time and place for Sasha music, you know?
Exactly.
All right, new one from Elohim. This one's called Tiny Human. I love the bass on this one, but the pitched vocals just were not doing it for me. What about you?
I love the production. The vocals and the lyrics are a bit odd.
Yeah.
Everything else on the track is great, though.
Continuing on with the theme of odd, let's talk about the new Camila Cabello and Playboy Cardi song. I love it. It is fucking terrible, dude. I knew it was terrible when I added it, and I threw it on anyways because you had to hear this, Brandon. It's the worst forced hyperpop change I've ever seen from a mainstream artist. Nothing about it plays to her strengths, and Cardi literally mumbles his way through his very brief verse. I hate everything about this. I almost hope whatever album this is leading to is just as bad as the single for entertainment's sake. I still can't wrap my mind around it. What about you?
Can somebody please tell me why people are obsessed with Carti's music? He literally just hum on this track. Like he literally says those words.
Yeah.
I
He's
just
been
don't
accused
get
of
it, man.
In the past, he literally mumbles a verse he probably got paid a lot to do.
It blows my
very
mind, man. People say, "Oh, he switched up his style, or his voice sounds deeper here." Maybe I I don't understand it. Somebody please explain it to me. I am open to understanding it. I do not get it. This is not my favorite Camila Cabello's track. It's bad. Like you said, man. Doesn't play
Yeah.
to any of her strengths.
Not a fan. Thumbs down. All right, we got a new one from Alvaro Diaz and Raul Alejandro BYAK. It's a fucking bop, man. It's the drum beat we've heard a million times before, but it's a really good collab. What'd you think of it?
My notes literally say one word: banger.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought you were gonna say drum beat.
No, banger.
Good. Good. Yeah, really good track. Another really good track. This one from Doechii and JT, Alter Ego. This fucking slaps so hard, man. Even JT kills it. The video for this is just Doechii on like a propeller boat going through the swamp at night, firing a shotgun into the abyss. It is incredible. Whatever this is
Absolutely
leading
amazing.
to, sign me up 10,000 times. I cannot be more excited. What'd you think?
Is this like an interpolation of an EDM track from like the early 2010s?
I have no idea. I actually
It
did
felt
not pick
very
up a
familiar.
sample on it.
It felt very familiar, but absolute banger.
Certified. All right, let's talk about this new one from IDK and Joey Badass called Denim. The beat's a little too EA Sports video game soundtrack for me, but the bars on it are very, very solid. What'd you think?
Sitting on cloud nine, but it's really my couch. This track just speaks to me, man.
I gotta know who his couch guy is, man. My couch is not giving me Cloud 9 vibes. It is comfortable, but not like Cloud 9. Come on.
IDK, if you're listening, please send me your couch guy.
Please.
Yeah, man.
That like bubble couch all the rich people have.
I think IDK has been really on it over the last couple of years, man. I think I really like this one.
Same, man. It's a really good track, and I think it's a bit of a grower too. We
Yep.
got a new one from Maxo Cream and the Mexican OT, Talking in Screw. What is there to say about this one other than it's a Maxo Cream song, which is to say it's great, ridiculous, hard as fuck, man. I'm running out of words for Maxo lately. What'd you think of this one?
That Mexican OT's flow is so funny, bro. He does it on all of his tracks, and it works so well. Like,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh man, great Maxo track.
All right, got one from Nascent, Duckworth, and Saba called Don't Check for Me. I really liked this one, man. I wanted everyone on it to cook a little bit more than they got to, but I really enjoyed the overall vibe. What about you?
Chill vibes all over, my man. I love this one. I'm not very familiar with Nascent, but everyone on this track fucking kills it.
I think it'll make a nice living on some lo-fi hip-hop playlists.
Yep.
All right, we got a new one from AWOL Nation, Panoramic View. You a fan?
Moving into the rock pop world of things,
Yes.
I actually really like this track after not
Wait,
liking
is
a few
AWOL
from them.
Nation not rap music?
Shut up. Yeah, man, I actually really like this track. I haven't liked the last like dozen or so tracks from AWOL Nation, but this one kind of brought back what I really liked about their first album, Megalithic Symphony, which is great melodies, on the nose lyrics, and
Yeah.
just the overall vibe of the track was where I want it to be for an AWOL Nation track. Does that make sense?
It does, and you're going to be surprised to hear that I agree with you. I have shit
Hey.
all over everything post-Megalithic. This one was not as bad as I was expecting. I still don't know if I'd want a whole album of it, but it is getting much closer to the sound I think they were best at.
I debated throwing this on. I was in my head about it a little bit, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you did too. All right, we got a new one from Dive, Everyone Out. What'd you think about this one? I'm a little torn on it.
I wish that this was like 4 or 5 beats per minute faster.
Sped up?
Yeah, just like a little bit, man. It's just missing a little bit for me. Although I am still excited for the album. I think it's going to be slower than I wanted it to be, which I think is going to give Dive a little bit more room to breathe. And I'm not necessarily sure that that's a good thing.
Yeah, speed could be it. I thought it was kind of just lacking the overall riffage that like Brown Paper Bag had as a single. It's
True.
still a decent song, but like you said, we're still over a month away from the album dropping. I hope they don't release too many more singles for it. It seems like the type of album that will benefit from complete listens.
Right.
All right, man. New one from Microwave. Um, Hupperzine Dreams is, I think, the name of this one.
Something
This
like
one's
that.
giving me some like old This Providence vibes. I'm really enjoying it, man. Their new album, Let's Start Degeneracy, drops April 26th. You excited for it?
Microwave are kind of like chameleons, man. They can really
They are.
blend it into like a ton of different niches and like still come out sounding fantastic. This is some of the best production I've ever heard on one of their tracks, and I am super
Agree.
stoked if the entire album sounds and is mixed like this. Sign me the
Yeah,
fuck up.
same, bro. All right, we got a new one from St. Vincent called Flee. You digging it?
I need to know whether or not you're digging it right now, John.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So far, I am really enjoying the album rollout, much more than the last one. We've still got a few weeks until it actually drops, but I am excited for it as of April 5th, 2024. Brandon, are you?
Yeah, super stoked. I think she's blending all of her sounds together in a very good way. I color me excited.
I hope you're not a fan of the next one because I am not. It is the new 21 Pilots song Next Semester. It sounds too no honey, we have the Strokes at home with an unneeded amount of the Postal Service in there. I'm really not a fan of this, but that lead single still has me a little bit optimistic for the album. What'd you think of this one, man? I'm sorry if I deflated it and you were a fan.
No, I didn't hate it, didn't love it. If I had to rate the song, it'd be right in the middle. It's funny though. I did throw this on, and we've got a couple of Gen Z folks at work, and one of them was like, "Is this 21 Pilots?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh man, I forgot about them. They're good."
Oh, they're already being forgotten about by their original fans. How old we get, man.
Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting?
That is crazy. All right, we got one from Imdal Mokhtar. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce the song name, but it absolutely fucking shreds. I
Thank you.
really don't have anything else to say about this one other than it shreds a
It's
surprising
crazy.
amount.
It is crazy that the song that shreds the most on a playlist that has two metal albums and like bro, this is a discovery of
Yeah.
mine from the Coachella lineup. I am extremely excited to stream their set. I hope that they are streamed. This band fucking
Okay.
rocks, John. I have no
Yeah.
idea what they're saying and no clue even what language it's in, but I fuck with it. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, man. We got a new one from Stand Atlantic, Paris, and Brussels called Girls. I like everything about this track outside of the electronic drum kit parts. I'm just not a big fan of that sound with this type of music, but it is a solid track. It's catchy at the very least. What do you think about this one? You added that last Stand Atlantic album to the playlist back when it dropped.
I dislike the electronic percussion and drums. I like the little synth flourishes
Okay, fair.
because
That's a tough line to walk.
I know I had the same thought as you did, John. I thought about it and I was like, man, I can deal with the auto tune, right? But like
Hmm.
the little electronic like flourishes in this are kind of towing a line, and I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I liked the synth. I hope they explore that a little bit more.
I'm sure we'll be getting more new music from them soon.
Yep.
We got another new one from CU Space Cowboy. This one featuring Courtney LaPlante. It's called To the Dance Floor for Shelter. I just really wish groups like this and like Your Ghost in Glass could go back and exist in the height of the MySpace era because
Right.
I don't feel like enough people are truly appreciating how good this is. This was easily one of my most played songs this week. What'd you think about it?
Courtney LaPlante is quickly becoming the next metalcore celebrity and well deserved. Her work with Spirit Box is fucking crazy. She's got a wild voice. This whole track is a fucking banger. Let's go. Sign me up.
Yes, their album actually drops April 19th, so we will not have to wait too long for that one.
Yes.
All right, we got one from Dane, Abode of the Perfect Soul. Nothing wrong with some straight up prog metal when it's done right like this. I give it a thumbs up. What about you?
I think it might be Dune. It's spelled with a V, so you never
You
really
know
know,
what?
right?
You want me to pronounce it right? Put the like,
For real
no,
though.
yeah, it probably is Dune with a V. I don't know.
Welcome to my song of the week, John. This is prog like it was written for me. Callbacks to riffs from earlier in the song, harsh vocals, clean vocals, polyrhythms, peaks and valleys. It's almost 8 minutes long. I am excited for this album, man.
Have you watched Dune the movie yet?
No, I have not.
You need to get on that, Brandon.
I do.
You really
I
need to get
do.
on that.
I do.
When does the album drop? Do you know?
No clue. I know it's
All right,
coming.
I'll throw it on the playlist.
Legit.
Cool. We got a new song from War Crime called Gallows. How you feeling about it?
This is the heaviest hardcore that I've heard this year so far.
Yeah, I love how it starts with like the obligatory 15 seconds of open this pit the fuck up music before getting into the actual meat of the song. From there, it's just a series of breakdowns, each one heavier than the last until it ends, which is pretty much what all songs should aim to be.
The single cover being a guillotine is just amazing.
On the nose, but needed. Yeah. All right, let's cap off the singles this week with Party Cannon. Oh, God. This one is called Not Immediately Life Threatening. I was honestly shocked this one wasn't your song of the week.
This song is unfathomably heavy, John. This is almost too heavy.
I don't think you have ever said that, Brandon. I think that is the first time I've ever heard
it's
you
not
say that.
too heavy, but it's like it's right there, man.
It's pretty fucking heavy. Both Party Cannon songs you've added have just been over the top, I think, in the best way possible. Anytime a group has party in their genre, I'm a little worried it'll suck. I call it the Attila effect, but this absolutely slaps, dude. Their album Injuries Are Irreversible also drops April 26th. We will definitely be covering that one.
Most definitely. Yeah, man, I every time this song came on, I had control of the aux cord a little bit this week, and every time this song came on, I heard a collective sigh from everybody in the room. So that's how you know it's good, right? Right?
You're one of the few people that I know would relish that feeling and not be like, "Oh, I need to change it." You're gonna be like, "Sit
Nope.
with that,
Sit
enjoy
with it. Sit with it. This is 4 minutes and 29 seconds. You'll live.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, are you ready to move on to the EPs?
I'm ready, my man.
We got a few this week. Kick things off with the new one from J-Hope, Hope on the Street, Volume 1. I think this feels like a collection of Lucy's more than an EP, but we still got a few jams to enjoy. Obviously, most of the attention on this is going to go to the collab with Jungkook.
Yep.
But this EP has Nile Rodgers, Benny Blanco, one of the girls from Le Sserafim on it. The Volume 1 in the title has me thinking that this is not the last of this era for him. But it'll be interesting to see how they manage a rollout for an artist who is actively fulfilling his mandatory military service. I'm sure they got tons of content to fill the 2 year gap he'll be gone, but it is still a little weird. I'm happy to hear it though. Some good songs on here. What'd you think?
You know, I love the Karinglish she does here, man. Mixing of
Same.
languages and music is so neat nowadays, man. It's all just a fucking melting pot, and it's really bringing some interesting ideas and like interesting moments to music nowadays. As is tradition, J-Hope kills it on this one, man. Confident bars over breezy beats with great mixing. What else is there to say?
Nothing. You said it all. All right, man. I cannot fucking wait to talk about this. We got a EP from Rico Nasty and Boys Noize, Hardcore Dreams, top to bottom, front to back. This is a fucking banger. All 3 songs are not just good. They are great. We're lucky to get this EP and Girl Crush back in 2020, but I seriously already want more. Like, they just make magic whenever they get in the studio together. And it's not formulaic bullshit either. Rico could easily yell over all of his beats, and that it'd still be great. But you can tell she puts a lot of work into her vocals. Her lyrics are fun. Her melody's really catchy on this. And she always knows what the song needs. I don't think I've ever heard her do clean vocals the way she does on Vagina, but she sings just as good as she raps, or at least flow raps
For
like
real.
that. Vagina is my song of the week, dude.
Here it is.
I love that one. What'd you think of this EP?
These are just 3 bangers back to back, man. When I needed to go this week, I knew exactly what to put on.
Yes. I kind of hope they do a physical of this one. I need it. It is good.
I honestly, I would take an entire album of Rico Nasty and Boys Noize getting together.
Please.
Do you think that Rico Nasty was the one he was talking about in his Instagram post about somebody big hitting him up?
No, I don't.
Let's
I
see.
don't. I'm really interested to see the producer credits on this upcoming Charlie XCX album. I'll tell you that.
All right.
All right, we got a new EP from Illit. It's called Super Real Me. This is a newer K-pop group. This is their first EP, and already the song Magnetic is at 38 million plays. It came out March 25th. Again, this is their first ever release. Look, man, I know this sounds like it was made in a factory, but so are Ferraris, and Magnetic is the Ferrari of K-pop songs. It is produced and performed to perfection. I know you don't give a shit about music videos or dances. That part of it's already been taken off virally. This is going to be a big, big group, I have a feeling. What did you think of this, man? Did you find any enjoyment in it?
How are K-pop artists like this bringing in massive numbers with basically no releases? That's crazy, bro. This music is obviously
Playlist
good, man.
placement.
Catchy melodies, Karinglish, incredible production, and I'm assuming here, but I'm assuming probably a pretty wild live show. I know that a lot of K-pop artists are basically from birth taught how to dance. And look, man, K-pop is becoming more and more my thing every time you show me something new. And this was good, bro. This was good.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too far into it because I'm definitely speaking as a novice myself in the area. But yeah, what classifies as actually K-pop and not just like R&B or hip hop from that realm is just that, the classical training, not just vocally but dance wise. You're not considered a quote unquote idol unless you do those things, which is why BB is, for instance, not really considered K-pop. Um, this is very much from like girls in different groups like the Seraphim, New Jeans, like they know each other because they went to these schools together from the time they were young, you know? Like this is very much a way that they are brought up and trained to do this from a very young age. It's fucking crazy, dude.
That's
It's really
wild. That's
impressive,
wild.
like vocally on this, that it is as tight as it is for them being probably. I don't know the overall age of these girls, but typically for the genre, they start them very young.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed my time with it.
I'm glad, man. All right, we got a new EP from Flyana Boss called This Ain't the Album. First of all, great name for an EP. Second, this is a lot of fun, man. If the last song was not 9 minutes, this whole project would be less than 10 minutes. But that 10 minutes is like drinking a Sprite from McDonald's at midnight during a thunderstorm. Like they found their sound, they found their aesthetic, they're locked in. I'm excited to hear when the album drops. It better be titled This Is the Album. What do you think of this?
From Sinbad bars to ballin' on hoes, they killed this one, man.
Sinbad bars, man. You had to be there. Okay, we got we got one more EP to talk about from OCULA called Uncharted Waters. What are you thinking about it?
So this was released on This Never Happened, as if you couldn't tell by the way that it is.
Huge
But
surprise.
this may be one of my favorite EPs from them ever. The textures, the bass lines, the atmosphere, unmatched, man. Instant follow, instant rabbit hole dive. Ocula just absolutely just crushed it on this one, dude. I felt, I felt like real emotions listening to the way these chord progressions kept going. Especially on Standing Still, like about halfway through that song, it's just I felt like I was fucking levitating, man. Like this music is awesome. This is awesome.
You you might have been levitating. Never.
You never know, bro.
It's
I
always a
don't
possibility.
exactly.
Yeah, dude,
Exactly.
I could tell this was a this never happened release with my fucking eyes closed, man. There's something about like everything that they put out that just has a certain feel to it. I think Ocula does a fantastic job conveying that feeling, especially on tracks like High Tides and Standing Still. Just phenomenal stuff.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to talk about the albums this week?
Oh, we've got quite a few of them, my man. Are you?
We do, man.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
I am ready. Let's dive in. First up, we got the new one from Beyonce, Cowboy Carter. We've talked about this one a lot leading up to it. I've never really been a big fan of country. I went in with an open mind. I gave it multiple listens. I just don't think it's for me, man. Like beyond the choice of genre, wasn't big on the features, definitely not big on the runtime. I think 27 tracks is just too many. Even with 30-second interludes, it made the album a slog to get through for me, especially on the subsequent listens. even when the sound diverted away from country, it just was not doing it for me overall. There's a few times on this that I do think she strikes a balance between country and pop in a way that I can groove with. Two Hands to Heaven, Sweet Honey, great examples of that. There's tracks like Spaghetti that I thought were really fun on the first listen, but like the novelty wore off pretty quickly for me. That's kind of where my thoughts end for this one, man. It's just not really for me. I'm gonna give it a five. My standout is Desert Eagle. What do you think about this one?
Alrighty, man. Whoa. An hour and 18 minutes. This is a long album.
There.
I ran through it a couple of times, so I'll start off with what I actually can't comment on. I'm not an expert in the black history of country music, so I'll let somebody who's more qualified than I am with that subject to state whether or not she nailed it with this homage. I'm also not a giant country fan, so I don't really have much country to compare it to in order to comment on how good it is for this space. What I can comment on are a number of things. So her voice. Dear God, man, I think her vocal performance on this album is probably my favorite of hers in years, if I'm being honest. Her voice sounds incredible throughout the entire project. Even on the songs that I didn't really care for, I think she crushed it vocally, which is something that I was kind of expecting, but also not expecting so much so, if that makes sense. I was expecting it to be great, but I wasn't expecting it for it to be absolutely incredible the way that it is. I think musically speaking, this album has its highs and its lows, as is expected with an album so dense with content. I loved the Willie Nelson moments. I loved the purer country songs. I even came to enjoy Texas Hold'em a little bit more than I did when it was dropped as a single. I think the Blackbird cover is good. Even McCartney himself approves of it.
You're a big covers guy.
I really didn't mind the lyric change on the Jolene cover. I think it's done pretty tastefully. I really didn't like some of the tracks that didn't fit on the project, right? Like Spaghetti. Or what's the other one? Riverdance. Why are they on this project? There's like, I guess country influences in them, but it's really not what I expected for this project. I think her vocal performance is kind of sold me on this one, but I also think that like a truly great album exists within these 78 minutes, but maybe it's more like 40 minutes of great music rather than 80 of them. It's somewhere between it's a 6 probably, maybe between a 5 and a 6. I liked it more than I didn't, but marginally.
I should have let you go first. You were so much better at that than me. All right, dude. So we don't know what Act 3 is going to be. Nobody does. What do you hope Act 3 is going to be?
I hope it's old school rock and roll. I hope it's Elvis, Fats Domino, Chuck Berry rock and roll.
You know what I'm hoping for, right?
What?
Well, obviously I'm fucking hoping for an R&B album, but
that's crazy, bro. I didn't even know you liked R&B.
Huge if true. She does a little scream thing a few times on this album, and she says the word mosh pit. Just give us the metal album already, right?
Imagine, bro. Imagine Beyonce featuring Bruce Dickinson. Beyonce featuring Lars Ulrich. I think I would not hate many more things.
Oh man, Lars Ulrich. You had to bring Lars Ulrich up.
Any chance I can get to hate on that motherfucker, I will. Okay?
Oh God. All right, man. Talk to me about this new Gesaffelstein album, Gamma. You said it was one of your more anticipated ones going into this week.
All right, man. This album got some really funny reviews from even his fans. Most people who were expecting another Aleph were disappointed, as if the writing hasn't been on the wall for close to a fucking decade that he's never making that album again. At just 35 minutes, and with many tracks being basically only 2 minutes long, this is clearly a project full of ammo for a live set. I legit almost bought a Pioneer mixer just to mix some of his older music in with this stuff to prove it, but I didn't end up doing that because I don't care enough. But I actually love, a lot of people didn't like it, but I love the Depeche Mode vocal style on this one. I think they're done pretty tastefully and sparse enough, right? There are tracks like Hysteria and Psycho that go unbelievably hard and will absolutely be included in some weird live set of his.
Yep.
I actually don't even think there's much to review here, man. I think it sounds good. I think he's in a transition period between his Hyperion stuff and whatever's going to come in the future. And I'm just going to wait for the live debut of his show at Coachella to prove my assertion right, which is he wrote all of these songs to mix into his live set, and it will become more Gesaffelstein lore. I'm going to give it somewhere between a 6 and a 7 for me. I liked it. Tyranny is probably my standout, man. That track's a fucking banger.
Oh, I have to learn more lore, man. Oh, I still haven't recovered from Game of Thrones. All right, so yeah, yeah. He's just always been really hit or miss for me. And sadly, I think this album for me is a miss. I liked the lead single, and I think that that sound is indicative of how most of the record sounds, but it's a sound that becomes a little one note to me after a while. He still freaks it a few times on the album, like you said, but I think there's more duds on here than I was hoping for, at least for my taste. Even though I don't like the album overall, I still want to focus on the positive aspects of it, which are the drums on Hysteria are just fucking insane.
Yes, sir.
The She Wants Revenge vibes on Hard Dreams, beautiful.
Yes,
And
sir.
just everything about Tyranny, which is also my standout. I
Hey,
also have this one like between a 5 and a 6. I'm not huge on it though, as of now.
I'm gonna tell you, bro. Watch his set, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, I get it."
Isn't that what all producers do is make music to work into their set?
I think I genuinely think
What is the difference here?
the difference here is that these aren't fully fledged out songs because they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be. If he really wanted streaming numbers, he would have made this 20 songs long. It's not 20 songs long.
I don't.
It's 30 minutes.
Yeah, but he could have made the songs that there were just like Daft Punk. I feel like did exactly what you're talking about. Like they found new ways to imagine their songs live. But I feel like the songs on their own fucking ruled too. I just feel like these songs on their own don't rule. But I do feel like you are correct in that live, obviously they're gonna fucking slap, especially if he's in the fucking chrome suit with all the Vanta Black behind him. It's gonna be fun for sure.
I'm curious I maybe I'm not explaining it correctly. I think Daft Punk wrote music to write music. They also were adept at mixing that music. I think
Very true.
Gesaffelstein wrote this entire album in order to mix it with their other music, whereas Daft Punk wrote all of their music pre Random Access
So
Memories
purely as
as
live
music.
companion music
Right.
to his previous music. That's
Exactly.
interesting. Yeah, we will find out soon. Coachella's next weekend.
Oh,
How's
we sure
traffic out
will.
there?
Right now, traffic is fine. Tyler, the creator, has a billboard up that says, "I would love to see your faces instead of your phone camera lights," which
They'll
nobody is
never
ever going
take
to
that
listen to.
message,
Right.
bro. Eric Prides literally puts a giant fucking phone back at all of the phones to start his set.
As if to fuck with everybody out there. I'm excited, man. Traffic is fine right now. Come next week, we're gonna see no festival parking.
Yeah.
10, 15 miles away from the festival, as if anybody's really going to park there. And yeah, man, I'm stoked to see how the valley changes. You know how it is out here; it gets real crazy.
It very much does. I'm hearing from my mother, in fact, about how crazy it gets out there. All right, man, let's talk about this new Anima album, Genesis 2.
Can we
I'm just gonna
please?
cut right through the bullshit here, man. I think it's formulaic, derivative, boring. The drops are fine, but it is the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I think that I'm already burnt out on the sound. Like the best parts of this album for me were the beginning, the middle, and the end. I thought it started really strong with Sacrifice, kind of lost me soon after, brought me back in with Pictures of You, lost me again, brought me back in one more time with After Love. Other than that, the vocals from Karen Park on Hear Me Now were the only thing that really stood out to me. Uh, Even if these were just leftovers from part one, this release did not feel entirely necessary. Got it between a 4 and a 5. My standout is probably After Love. What are your thoughts on it? Was I a little too harsh on it?
I think so, but
Hit me.
you're totally entitled to your opinion. These
Thank you.
might have been leftovers from Genesis 1, but I think they were leftovers on purpose. And I think that's because a lot of these are way more trancey than his first record. I actually liked this one a little bit more because he kind of gave in to the synth work. I actually disagree with you. I dislike Sacrifice. I think that when I started it, I felt immediately disappointed because it was kind of boring. But I will say, I will
Like
say,
boring.
I will say that Now or Never fucking got me, bro.
Okay.
Every time I hear Now or Never, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this, and I'm bobbing my head. I just get it, bro.
Okay.
There's a couple of tracks. Obviously, it's very repetitive. That is Anima's thing, right? It is this, right? You can play
Hmm.
any of these songs and to any person who is not into electronic music, and they'll tell you it is one song. But I liked it a little bit more than you did. I'm gonna give it somewhere between a 6 and a 7 rather than a 5. So I think you were a little bit more harsh on it than I was. But I want him to just give in to the trance. People are calling this melodic techno. There's almost nothing to do with techno here. It is mostly just trance, and I want him to give into that. What we heard from ATB earlier in this in on this playlist is exactly what I want to hear Anima try to do.
Yeah.
Because if he lets himself kind of just give into that instead of maybe trying to fit into a techno box of which he doesn't fit. The box is a square and he's a circle. He doesn't fit. And that's okay. He shouldn't want to. So that's kind of where I'm at, right? I felt more given to the synth, and I kind of like every time he pulled him back to just do the bass, I was like, no, 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 keep going with the synth.
You should always just keep going with the synth, you know?
Almost
Like,
always. Almost
uh,
always.
I should note there's a disc two to this release that I did not add. It is just remixes of songs from part one and part two. Maybe that would
Oh,
add some context. Maybe I'd like some of those more than any of the other stuff. I will try and dive in at some point. But yeah, this one just did not hit me this week. Not much has so far, but we will continue on. There is some stuff I remember enjoying. All
nice.
right, man. Talk to me about this new Buddy album. Don't forget to breathe.
Alrighty, my man. I kind of needed a rap album like this week, man. Something
Been a while.
chill, something off the normal beat and trail for 2024. This really hit the spot, man. And I think that Buddy is really in his groove on this one, dude. This album is funky, it's groovy, it's got great bass lines and like all the best ways, dude. The production is legit and refreshing. It also has like some subtle nods to like the 90s G-Funk stuff. I actually fucking love it when you throw a rap album on the playlist and I don't know most of the features. I love it because it means I'm in for
Same.
something new. And I
Yeah.
gotta say, I really like the majority of the features on this one. BJ the Chicago Kid kills his. Garen sounds great, but you know that I love Shoulda Known with that Smino verse. Love how
Yes.
breezy this entire album is to listen to. It's just 35 minutes. I think I ran it back like 4 or 5 times this week, dude. I'm a big fan of this one, and whenever I'm in the mood for a nice chill out mood, just kind of light something up and vibe, this is the one, man. Good shit. 7 to 8
Fuck
out of
yeah.
10. I shoulda known is my standout.
Of course, man. Smino and Buddy are always going to go well together. I'm glad to hear them.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, dude, I went into this one looking for a solid rap album, and that's exactly what I got. I don't think I'm as immediately as high on it as I was with Super Ghetto, but I think it's got more than a few jams on it. Like this, Do Things, Got Me Started, Should Have Known, are all solid. I feel like the production on this album as a whole maybe could have been a little bit better. Outside of Get It All, not a lot of the beats stood out to me on my first listen. In terms of the bars, though, man, he is still just as good as he was the last time we heard him. I didn't really hear anything new out of him, but he does slow things down and gets a little more melodic with things in the back half of this album, which I wasn't always a fan of when listening to it, but it still hit for me, I'd say, more often than not. I got this one between a 6 and a 7. I really liked it. I think Like This is still my standout. Really good song.
Nice, man. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay, let's talk about this new album from Blu DeTiger, All I Want Is Everything. There was never a question this album would be a certified bop, and that is exactly what it is. I love the way she starts it off with the sound of her finger sliding down the bass string before going into the intro. Latency and Expensive Money kick this album off perfectly and just feel like the perfect thesis to the sound that she's been perfecting for years. The singles take up a majority of the middle of the album, but they are still just as good as they were when we dropped or when they dropped and we reviewed them. I'd say the last third of this album has some great stuff too. Imposter Syndrome does a nice job slowing the pace down a little bit without bringing it to a stop. It also allows her to go into a more slightly more serious area lyrically. But the party does not rest for very long on this album. Hey You is an instant toe tapper. She's got a collab with one of our favorite synth pop groups in the world today, Magdalena Bay, on here. Everything she's worked towards with this debut has paid off. We had some incredible artists dropping albums this week, and this was easily my favorite and most listened to album. I have it between a 7 and an 8. My standout is Latency. Cannot stop listening to it. What'd you think of this one?
Nice. Here it is, man. The debut album from Blu DeTiger that we've been waiting for what feels like
Yes.
fucking years. I gotta say, man, her bass playing on this album is phenomenal. It really is phenomenal, man. I feel like she has progressively gotten poppier and poppier as like her singles have dropped, which isn't a bad thing. But you can most definitely hear the bass in this album a lot. She delivers on that, and I'm glad that she at least had UMG mix the bass at the forefront here. The
So,
tracks are catchy enough, but nothing really grabbed me like her first few singles that we covered did. I don't know, man. Maybe it needs to grow on me, but the reality is that there's only like a few songs on this one that I'm going to come back to. I liked everything, but I had to like nothing was memorable to me after the first couple of listens. So I had to go back a few more times in order to like really digest it for some reason. Maybe it was my week, so I'm gonna revisit it soon. Somewhere between a 6 and a 7 for me right now. I loved that bass line on Moxie, so that's gonna be my standout.
a lot of disagreeing between us this week. I kind of like it.
That's
All
okay.
right. It does not happen often, is all I'm pointing out.
I know, I agree.
All right, so we got a couple more albums to talk about here. This next one I threw on is kind of a wild card. I don't think we've ever talked about this group. Their name is While She Sleeps. This is their new album, Self Hell. I just wanted to throw you something on my metal adjacent radar to get your thoughts on it. What'd you think about it?
So I think that I had like written off what people were calling quote new metalcore after hearing that one Slaughter to Prevail song that sounded like a terrible heavier cover of Slipknot. But after that Defocus album a few weeks ago, my ears have kind of opened and my mind has as well. I gotta say, man, While She Sleep delivers on this one, dude. We've got great melodies. We've got some really cool riffs. We've got massive Mudvayne worship, which you know I love in the riffs. I really enjoyed this album, man. It's a solid 7 for me. Down with, I believe, Malevolence. Is that the song? Yeah, down featuring Malevolence is going to be my
Yeah.
standout on this one towards the end of the record. A lot of soft moments, but I think that it all works, man. I really enjoyed this one.
Good, man. I was hoping you'd enjoy it more than you did. And there's some things I really like about this album. There's some things I really don't. As a sequencing guy, the way the intro track flows into the second track, or the lack thereof, started me off on a very sour note, but they pick things up quickly. And I think once they find their groove, I had a decent time with this album as well. There's some lyrics that made me roll my eyes, as is often the case with modern metalcore, and some very formulaic song structures, but there's some fun riffs, there's some chanty choruses, some really nice breakdowns. It's a little too soon to see like where this album will fit in the context of metalcore in 2022, but I agree, it's a decent album. I'm gonna give it a 6. I think Leave Me Alone's my standout.
Nice. That's a good one.
All right, the last album we have to talk about, which we can just briefly mention here, is that one from Carrie and Vale. Cannibals Anonymous. We threw this one on a little bit last minute. It's just some straightforward, mellow death fun, technically proficient, sufficiently heavy. There's a lot of beautiful guitar sweeps and hammer-ons, absolutely ferocious vocals. It's even got some personality, which is not always the case for albums like this. It's getting a thumbs up from me, man. My standout is Love Zombie. That track fucking rips. Did you get a chance to check this one out?
Yeah, I definitely listened to it. I didn't write any notes, so just here's my off the cuff review of it. The reason why I wanted to throw it on and I threw it on late was because I was listening to Bandcamp and I let it go to the radio, and I don't think I've ever mistaken a riff for a Black Dahlia Murder riff, and then thinking, wait, what is this Black? That can't be Black Dahlia Murder. And then looking at my phone and being like, oh shit, what is this band? And then, oh shit, they released this album today, So
Yeah.
it just kind of went through. I kind of went through the motions and going through it. I think the first song that I heard was Love Zombie, which is a great one. Pins and Needles is also a really good one.
Yeah.
I just the melodies on this one, dude, are just amazing, and it is Black Dahlia Murder worship in a way that I haven't heard since Trevor died. And I really enjoyed my time with it. Like I said, I didn't write any notes, so I'm not going to give it a score nor a standout, but I really enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, this is not a review as much as it is just a suggestion for fans of this genre.
Here it is.
All right, that does it for us this week. We will be back again next week. We'll be talking about new albums from J. Cole, Bryson Tiller, Young Miko, Vampire Weekend, and much, much more. We'll also be doing our annual How We Would Navigate Coachella episode if the set times are out by the time we record. They
Big
should be,
if.
correct?
Big if.
Uh, Should be. All right. Follow along with the playlist that this podcast is based on so you can keep up with what we'll be talking about on next week's episode. It's updated every Friday night. You can find us on Instagram and Reddit. Just search Brandon's Face Pod. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.